A new and much anticipated report from the United Nations bolsters previous reports that human activities cause global warming. It's one conclusion from the study, the first since 2007, on how and why the climate is changing and what the future may bring. Jeffrey Kluger is Time Magazine's senior science editor. Jeffrey, good morning.
Good morning.
This is the fifth of these reports, actually.
That's right.
What's different in this one?
What's different is the degree of certainty. The scientists are now saying that they are 95% certain that at least 50% of the warming in the last century is due to human activity. That's up from 90% certain in 2007 and 66% certain in 2000.
And when they say 95%, that's just not a number they're just throwing out
That's
there.
not like you and me saying I'm 95% certain I'll be at the party tonight. These are crunched and looked at numbers, and this is done very carefully and very precisely.
So it's not like we haven't heard this before, maybe not to this percentage, 95%. Right. It's really high. Is there new data, new information? What are they basing this on?
Well, they're basing this on global temperatures. They're basing this on global sea levels. They're basing this on regional fluctuations, on local fluctuations. And some of the other numbers get even further into certainty. So you have a 99% certainty that sea levels are the highest they've been in 2,000 years, and a 99% certainty that this is continuing unless we start shaping up.
Yeah, the report says the effects are likely to linger for centuries.
For centuries,
but,
that's right.
So my question is, can we make a difference at this point?
Well, here's the thing. The analogy I like to use is it's like an ocean liner. If you're heading for a reef and you throw all the engines off and even put them in reverse, you're still gliding ahead hundreds of yards. But at some point, you have to do it. At some point, you have to say, we are cutting carbon, and we're doing it now. There is a lot of warming still baked into the system. It's in the atmosphere, and it's also still in the industrial system. We can't overhaul our industrial base overnight. So even if we decide to do it, it's going to take a while to retool and stand down coal plants, for example.
And as I understand it, the report has something sort of interesting in it, in that it shows that global warming has been slowing over the past 15 years, even though we haven't been slowing our output of the stuff we put out that allegedly causes it.
Right.
But there's also an issue with the temperature of the ocean going up.
That's right. There are four things that are driving this. The oceans could be absorbing a little more heat than what we thought. There are solar cycles that could play a role. Volcanoes can do it. And also greater heat means greater moisture in the atmosphere, which provides a little bit of shielding. But the way I look at it is, if you're falling off a building and a wind catches you and your speed of descent slows a little bit for a few years, well, that's fine. You're still heading for the ground.
Yeah. One of the alarming numbers I saw was that if we continue at this pace, by, 2100, we're going to be increase the temperature on the planet by about 6 degrees?
6.6 degrees. And the frightening thing is, all it's taken is 1 degree Fahrenheit growth since 1901 to give us all the changes we've had. At 2 degrees, we will have an ice-free Arctic in summer. 6.6 degrees, we will practically be bursting into flames. Not literally, but it will be very unpleasant.
It's an enormous change, is what you're saying. Jeffrey Kluger, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.